Hey everyone, I know I mentioned these before. You may have seen these sitting around in some of my videos. And I mentioned I was going to tell you what they were for and how they were done. The mill sits outside. I don't have a mill shed for it. The mill head gets covered along with the control panel has a separate cover and the engine has a separate cover. But what I made these for is cover this right here. These are 1-inch PVC, 1-inch inside diameter PVC that I made a jig up on my routing table, put a 7/8 bit in, and route it right down the whole length, opening up the one side of the conduit. You pretty much only have one shot at doing this because once it's opened up, it flexes too much to run another size router bit. So 7/8 is what I believe is the best size to run. You don't need much to get these to work. You don't need much material left behind for these to work, but let me show you how they work. You can see inside the red stuff, that's the ATF you're supposed to use on the rails. What I do is take a squirt bottle, squirt it in there. Let me see if I can get this. Lay it up here. Now I'm working one-handed here, folks, so bear with me. Lay it up here on top of the rail, and hang on, snap it down, just like this. Snaps right down onto the rail. This block is screwed onto here because once you snap this down, you're not getting that off unless you push it off by driving the mill head down to the end of the mill. That gives me a handle to grab, and yeah, it gives me a handle to grab hold of and pull that one off. The next one, I'm going to do this without dropping it. Maybe I could call on my lovely assistant Deborah to come over and give me a hand. That would be awesome. But she's busy right now. So again, push that down. Here she comes. You can go ahead and push that down, Deb?
Yeah.
So I can show everybody how this goes on here. What we do on this one, let me get around you here. You take little steps or big steps, whatever you feel you need to do to push them on there. But they do fit tight. They're not going to come off. We travel with these on the mills. They're not coming off at all. On the end one, you don't need a handle when you leave it long enough hanging off the side of the mill. And grab hold of that, just pull it straight up. And you're going to push that back down. And of course, the last one for the other side of the head. Again, there's plenty in here because we just cleaned the mill and did the rails. We sprayed these with the ATF, put it inside. When you snap it down, it coats the rail. And this keeps it out of the rain, keeps it from rusting. And again, leave the end hang off like that so you have a handle. Their conduit does not come long enough to run this in one continuous piece. I just made this out of some pieces some 1-inch pieces I had laying around here from some work I did around the house. So this one, the white one, is a little more rigid than the gray. So probably make them out of the gray. Just they go on easier. The white one, like I said, it's a little more rigid. It's harder to flex to get on there. But that's what they are. That's what they're for. And they do a great job. If you want to, you can make a set for the bottom rail or underneath here. But the problem with that is water runs down, goes right inside of them. So this bottom rail, we just depend on whatever runs off of the top rail, runs down, wraps around the bottom. You can see we didn't spray that bottom rail, but it's got plenty on it. We depend on that to keep this from rusting down here. We do keep an eye on that bottom rail and keep it wiped off, and occasionally check it with a piece of Scotch-Brite to see if there's any rust on it, if we do get any on it, but we haven't gotten any on it yet. It's staying clean all the way down. But for those that were asking, that's what they're for. Hope you find it useful, like I said. 1-inch inside dimension conduit, inside diameter conduit. A fixture on your router table to run it centered over a router bit, 7/8 router bit. That little bit left behind helps it snap right on there. No problems. For all those guys that don't have a mill shed to park in and aren't running the mill every day to keep it oiled and keep the rust away. This keeps your rail nice and clean, keeps the pitting away, which is one of the big things you want to do on these rails, keep the pitting off of it. That's it. Hopefully this was informative, and if you liked it, hit that like button. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you later.